Well, they said it was a big game. The biggest game of the year, Razors. The Boston Bruins head down to South Florida to take on the Florida Panthers, a team that they had done well previous 2 games that they played the Panthers, but they hadn't played well in their Bruins previous 2 games as they lost their last 2 coming in. The last one being a disheartening loss to the Philadelphia Flyers. We welcome you into Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor, and all the Bruins do, Razors, go down and find a way to win. It was a playoff-style feel. It was definitely not the sexiest game, the cleanest game, the smoothest game, the most high-flying game, but it was one of the more intense games, I think, of the season, and the Bruins responded well. 2-part question. Biggest win? Biggest game of the season, maybe? And would you call it the biggest win?
Yeah, because they're at this point in the season. I think you could say, I'm sure there might have been another win at the time that felt bigger. But right now, and with 10 games left, what happened this week, the Florida Panthers, the questions of can this team play tough enough? Can they stand up to a Florida Panther team? They proved all of that. And I liked how they got their game simpler as the game went on. They fought through the fact they gave up a goal in the first shift and basically had an atrocious start, really, for the first 5 minutes of the game, and then gave up.
Looked funky to begin.
Yeah, it's just
starting with Swayman and starting with everybody just looked almost tentative. And is that them or was that Florida? You think, or both?
I think it's. I would assume that they were all fired up, ready to go. Show the coach, show everybody we're ready to go, and then you get a bouncy, weird goal that goes in on the first shift, and then you get real tentative. And then Florida smells blood in the water, and they go even harder it's a bit of both, but I think it's a lot because the Bruins were so amped up to have a great start, and all of a sudden it's 1-0, and you haven't even touched the puck, or you haven't even got on the ice. So they fought through that, got the tying goal, and again, I love their second period because they had to fight through that. Giving up that goal late in the first period felt like a killer, and they grinded out a winning second period to get level for the third period.
Yeah, and a lot of questions about this team, maybe their collective toughness, their fortitude, their ability to handle, withstand a team that constantly, creates contact. That's what Florida does. The Bruins created contact from second period on, in particular, midway through the second and all of the third. Why do you think they were so successful at being able to elevate their physical presence that time?
They got the pucks in deep.
Yeah.
They started to make harder plays, not trying to look to the middle or not trying to put it right on the tape on the half wall when Florida was pressing down. They went off the boards. They iced the puck 3 times right at the start of the second, which isn't ideal, but I think sometimes in Florida, against a team like that, that's better. Even though the icing, you don't love it, it is better than making a soft play to the middle of the ice or a soft play up the boards. And sooner or later, that stops being an icing call as the ice gets a little worse. It doesn't roll as much. Players get in the way, and I think the Bruins stuck to that, and I think that's what got better is they got the puck out of their zone a little bit quicker, and they got their puck into their zone a lot quicker.
Well, you and I did not do a show after the Ranger game. We didn't do a show after the Philly game. But we were busy.
It's been a while now, I guess.
It's been a little while. And we had the Pat Maroon show. It's still out there, by the way. Listen to it, folks. If you haven't, you'll love it. And hopefully Pat Maroon is wearing the black and gold soon. He's skating, so hopefully it can happen soon. But were you as disappointed in the outcome, the way that the outcomes happened with the Ranger game and the Philadelphia game? I was disappointed. I was with Jim Montgomery. I was not happy with the way that they played on that Philadelphia game at all.
I was disappointed in them battling back and not getting a point. I being in an afternoon game, I kind of sloughed it off. But then when I did hear the remarks after, I was like, oh, okay, that one was actually something that was important and should have been dealt with a little bit better. And I think it crept over from the Ranger game because he sounded frustrated after the last 2 periods of the Ranger game as well. So essentially, he's thinking this is 5 straight periods that we haven't done what we're supposed to be doing at this time of year against Eastern Conference teams. So my hindsight, appreciates it a little bit more. I think in the moment, I was kind of in game 69 mode where it's like, you know what, let's just get these guys to the end. But now that you're, I guess game 71 mode, I should say, thinking 11 left in the season, that they have time to get going here. They have time to ramp it up, but the coaching staff feels differently when you have 5 bad periods in a row. And like I said, hindsight makes me appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, there were some signs of not so goodness. I was trying to badness maybe in those games. You're like, wait, it's not going to work. Meaning that the style of play at times that they showed against the Rangers in Philadelphia isn't going to work over the long haul in the playoffs. Now, just because of 1 or 2 bad games doesn't mean you're not going to be successful. But same thing, by the way, can be said about one game against Florida. But that was a playoff-style game. I thought the Ranger game was kind of like that, too. The Philly game, I couldn't really wrap my head around that game, except for the fact they should have done better, if that even makes sense. But was it playoff style against Philly? I'm not sure, but it just wasn't enough there. But now you come in and you go into Florida, into a place where I really think, Florida had a ton of purpose in this game, having lost to the first 2 games of the Bruins this season, where the Bruins did a nice job against them. And Florida talked about that. Paul Maurice talked about that yesterday and today at the morning skate and everything, and about how, we're going to be ready, and how the players understood that they had lost 2 in a row. So the Bruins, this is a game I don't know if we've ever been, I guess we have been hard on them. We absolutely have been. But if we're going to give them guff for some of those other games, we got to give him praise for this game.
Exactly like Montgomery did tonight. Right? Exactly like Montgomery did. He was on them. He was on them in practice yesterday, and he praised them after tonight's game for having given up an early goal and giving up one late in the second, or late in the first, I should say, the second goal. So yeah, you have to do that. And appreciate that they did fight back, that they did change their structure, that they did change their purpose, and beat a really good Florida Panther team in regulation on top of all of that, which is important at this time of year, to take a 2-point lead in the division.
Couple of numbers from this game. Bruins only had 10 shots on goal combined the second and third period, 4 in the second, 6.
3 goals in those 10.
They had 3 goals in that 10, and they finished with 21 shots. And you're like, ooh, that's not great. Florida Panthers, though, only finished with 21 shots on goal as well. They had 8 in the first, 8 in the second, 5 in the third. So the Bruins actually outshot them in the third, 6-5. And the Bruins, again, you're playing a team that is known for its offensive chaos that they create. Once they got used to it, once they got woken up, and I think, because, man, some of those passes in the first period were not good, Razor.
No.
Their outlets were not good. The Bruins were not sharp, starting with the first goal that, Rodriguez ends up scoring, and with a kind of a bad interchange or a handoff between Grzelcyk and Geekie. Geekie loses his helmet, blah, blah, blah. That puck goes to the net. Swayman has the puck go through him. It just wasn't good. And then it's continued after that. But for some reason, once they found their comfort level, maybe of taking a hit to make a play or moving a puck into a certain area, and I'm going to lead you to what I know you liked, so I'm going to lead you right there.
Thank you.
To lobbing the puck out into space. We finally saw it late in the first. Zacha had a chance. Beecher had a chance, and was it Brazeau that had the chance as well?
Exactly.
Those 3 chances. Do you think that those plays change things for the Bruins in this game as far as being able to outlet the puck better? I
hope so. I hope they had it on the wall, and I hope they talked about it as players, and the coaches talked to them that we can do this at times. So this can be we can punt against this team. We have to punt at times against this team, and that will open up and release their forecheck over the game. And yes, I've been hounding this all season. I watched in the playoffs last season. I watched Vegas and Florida use it all the way to the finals. I watched the Bruins lose because they tried too much and get the puck to the middle of the ice in times when it's just not there. I'm a big proponent of this. I think the Bruins have to recognize some nights they have to be simpler. They have to just go off the boards, live to fight another day, ice the puck a couple times, and not try to make that little bumper play to the middle of the ice every single time. And if it's not there, the reverse play on the first goal, Carlo on the second goal, trying to go back against the grain rather than just rimming it and getting the puck away from the net. Get the puck away from the net is somewhat of a strategy, or it certainly was last season in the playoffs. And I hope the Bruins can flip that switch, and I thought they did so tonight. I thought they made a move to that. I don't know if it was.
I don't know if it was a concerted effort.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not sure.
Though, don't you think?
I feel like it was. Like, I want to say it was, because it did start to happen pretty consistently, and
or maybe they just took what was given to them finally.
Well, that too, and I'll take that too, right? Like, don't try and force. And that's just it's kind of the same thing, I guess, is what I'm saying. Just don't force it all the time. It's just not there all the time, especially against the Florida Panthers.
All right, I want to run through a bunch of different stuff here. We have a ton of stuff to get through, in particular on this game. Are the Florida Panthers a dirty team or just a tough team?
I don't think of them as a tough team. Dirty is a little too far.
I don't think they're dirty. I think
they're
annoying.
Yeah, that annoying is the word.
Aggressive.
They're ratty.
Yeah,
they're ratty. Not dirty. They're very good at what they do.
I was going to say, but you can't help it. I gotta like them.
No,
and then none of them. Here's the thing. None of them. Well, that's not true. I was going to say none of them are huge. Barkov's a beast.
Yeah, but he's the last one to go in there, and he's not going to knock someone's helmet off, right?
Right. Good, fair point.
Yeah,
but what he will do is lean on.
Oh yeah.
And the Bennettts.
Yeah.
The Reinhardts, the Kachucks,
the Cousins.
Cousins not that big, but he's.
Oh, sorry.
He's a gnat. But what I'm saying is, they're a big team that I don't think they're dirty. I just think that they are relentless and aggressive, and it's constant. It's just they don't stop.
No, and what they're really, really they're really good at starting scrums and not getting penalties for it.
Yeah,
they're very. It is a talent. It is an absolute skill, and the Kachucks, the Bennetts, they're very good at it. They get a whack in all the time. Even the Stenlund penalty. Is it Stenlund? Is that what Stenlund? That penalty he took, 9 times out of 10, they get away with that slash on the back of the legs of one of the star players on the other team.
Talking about the penalty
on McAvoy in the second period, the whack, the slash on, and they get away with those all the time. Mm-hmm. Kachuk's so good, he falls on the goaltenders all the time, and they don't get penalties for it. And it's a skill.
In and out. He gets
so he gets his back in, and then
out. Yes.
And the stick's always coming up when he is twisting, so he accidentally hits someone in the face and accidentally punches someone in elbows, and it's a skill, and the referees, they let it go. They don't call them, and they even up a lot of those scrums, and that's what's frustrating to teams. And I thought the Bruins matched it tonight. I thought they stood up to it and didn't allow Florida to push them around too much after those scrums, because it is the scrums.
What'd you think of the Lindholm-Bennett fight? Did it bother you at all, or no?
No, no, because, and again, it's a perfect example. Bennett is obviously better at that than Lindholm. Mm-hmm. Lindholm doesn't.
And Bennett knew it.
And, he absolutely knows it, and he couldn't wait to get him alone, away from everyone. Right. The linesmen aren't coming in. The ref's going to stand there, and I really know I get to get my licks in. So I want Lindholm to stand in there and do that. It's similar to taking a hit to make a play. You get punched in the face a couple times to make a play, to stand in there and not end up on the ground with them.
Do you think somebody from the Bruins, maybe not in this game, but next game, should have a chat with Bennett?
It's not a bad.
I don't think it's a bad idea at all.
I would appreciate a Lauko or a Frederick to grab him in a scrum in a similar way from behind and force him into defending himself. Yeah. Completely fine with that. And if you can do that at the right time, like Bennett, it's all about finding the right time. Don't take the extra penalty and find a way to even it up.
I would imagine he will understand that it could be coming too, Bennett.
Yeah, for sure. They know.
He's been around. Then there was also a little scrap between Marchand and Mikkola. Brad Marchand, you want to get into him right here? Like the rest of the team, took a little while to get going, but once he did, holy smokes, what a second period, what a third period. Thought he was maybe going to get 400 on the empty net, just like because he was out there. And I mean, he had a power play chance earlier in the game, and he couldn't handle the puck on the right side as well. He's still stuck at 399, but he didn't let that get in his way. He did take the one slashing penalty that we didn't love. That was almost out of frustration after he couldn't handle the puck on the power play there. But then the scrap with how does the scrap with Mikkola not be called a fight, Yet the Bennett Lindholm was called to fight. I'm still trying to figure that one
I'm not sure. And I suppose the way Brad was going at that point, it was nice not to lose him for the 3 extra minutes. But in his defense, he did enough to get a 5-minute pad the penalty stats at that point. Oh, they were off, and they was throwing punches first. But a great job by Marshy, similar to what Bennett was doing, in that he dropped his gloves, got a few punches in, and then evened it up.
Right.
Got it all even. That's a perfect scenario for the Bruins in that point. And that's where I'd like to see a Frederic, just do a little bit of that. Lauko can do that a little bit when he gets out there and mix things up and find ways to grab the other guy and get him in. But Brad was a beast. He was fantastic on the second goal, scored by Pastrnak from McAvoy.
Yes, he started the whole thing with the forecheck.
Yeah, 2 big hits, back-to-back, second effort. Just really put a lot of effort into that game tonight.
Well, let's talk about the Bruins goals. You bring that up, and we got so much more to get to. We're going to run through stuff. But let's talk about the first goal. McAvoy gets it from Grzelcyk and Pavel Zacha. McAvoy ends up getting a hammer from, he was well inside the faceoff circle, actually at the dot, basically. And it was really, that was a result, of a good forecheck play that the Bruins get late in the period at the 17:43. McAvoy gets not a cross ice pass, or full cross ice, but maybe 3/4 ice pass from Grzelcyk. He strides into it, absolutely ropes this one over the side. What was it, the glove side?
Glove side, yeah.
Of Sergei Bobrovsky. You brought up in the game, or in the Nesson telecast, you thought that perhaps Bobrovsky read originally he was going to go blocker side, and therefore he was able to open up the blade just a little and then hammers it over the glove side there because of just seeing that Bobrovsky maybe had gone more blocker side. That was a real good forecheck. You mentioned the goal at the end of the first. Reinhart gets it from Luosterainen and Kulikov at the 18:56 mark, and you're like, oh, come on now.
Yeah, that sucked, that goal.
You're just like, how do you let it respond just like that right away? Like, again, turnover. Poor change by the Bruins, or was it a poor change? It's hard to read, but Carlo puts the puck into an area where, right? It can't be. And anyways, and by the way, I thought Carlo had a real good game.
He was good.
Physical. He was really good after.
All right, we
get into the second period. It's 2-1, and then you get Pastrnak from McAvoy, but another play along the wall. Think about it. A lot of these plays, 3 of the 4 goals directly result from wall play to the middle of the ice. Florida loves to swarm. They love to be incredibly aggressive. If you can get involved in the wall and win battles, which they did not do enough against the Rangers or against Philly, middle ice then could be open. Mm-hmm. So on the goal that we're talking about here, McAvoy gets the puck eventually on the wall at the 15:59 mark, hits Pastrnak, who's literally by himself in front of the net, corrals it on the back end, puts it under the toe of his stick, and gets it over Bobrovsky. Yeah,
it was a great play, great job to be alone in front of the net. Heads up play by McAvoy, great forecheck along the boards.
Carter Verhaeghe in the third period with a shot at 9:53 after the Bruins probably overcommitted on the forecheck. 3 guys too deep. Verhaeghe gets in, scores a goal. Puck, I thought it was a good shot. I do. I think there may have been a little screen there.
Yeah, and it might have got a piece. I don't know if it got a piece in front with Carlo or it didn't. Jeremy couldn't read the release, that's for sure.
All right, so that makes it 3-2, and you're like, oh, shit, here we go. But at the 15:38 mark, the Bruins get a power play. This is after Evan Rodriguez sends the puck over the glass for delay of game. The Bruins get on the ice. Their first unit was not good in this game again, Razor.
No.
It was not good enough. Marchand elects, though, after well over a minute, if I remember correctly, a minute 15 or so, stays on the ice, revs up with the puck from his own zone through the neutral zone. As he maneuvers to stick handle, he loses control of the puck, and it goes to the left wing side. He somehow was able to corral it enough, and then 2 or 3 Panthers converge on him.
Yeah.
Luosterainen loses an edge. I don't know what happened. You don't know what happened.
No, it's funny, though.
But then everybody, there's this chaos again. They look at that. Marchand corrals it and zips the puck to Trent Frederic, who is open in the mid-slot area. And what a heavy shot beating Bobrovsky.
He wired it.
Left side.
Absolutely wired it. There was no doubt. Bobrovsky has no chance to get set and read that play because of the way it was frenetic. It was just chaos. And it bounced to him, and Freddie hit it right in stride perfectly. He is hammering the puck. He has worked on his shot. It is much better, and that's what's allowed him to score the goals that he has, because prior 2-3 years ago, he's missing the net, or that's buried into Bobrovsky's chest. Just a difference in Freddie. Didn't have the best game, I don't think, but made it count at the time when he had the one opportunity to do that. And that's a real good thing for a kid like Trent Frederic.
Yeah, this was a game I thought was tailor-made for Trent Frederic. And you're right. Didn't have the best game. It took a little while. We saw finally some stuff where, especially in the third again, where he was good on the forecheck. We saw some lines mixed up. How about Brazo getting up with the top line again in the third period? He earned it.
He has.
He did. He earned it. So Frederic scores his 18th goal at the 15:38 mark. And then you're thinking, okay, get your point.
Yeah.
Get your point. Do your thing. And then Pavel Zacha from David Pastrnak and Parker Wotherspoon. And let's not forget, by the way, Swayman got his first career assist on that, I should have mentioned, on the Frederic goal. But Zacha's going to end up getting a goal after, again, this is the third of the 4 goals that resulted in hard, heavy wall play. The Bruins keep it, change the point of attack. The puck eventually works its way up the left wall to where Parker Wotherspoon is, gets it. Wotherspoon then gets it down, like he puts it down, and Pastrnak ends up getting it on the right side. Spins with his back to the net, basically. I thought he was shooting. I thought he was going to shoot for whether it was a rebound or try and tick it at top corner. But instead, he must have seen peripheral before he spun that Pavel Zacha was driving far post, the left post. He puts it there. He missed the stick blade. He hit the skate blade, and it was directed in cleanly and legally.
It was great from David because, again, I thought a great job by Witherspoon to keep that puck in. That's a tough play, and that's a ballsy play to hang in there and make that play with the puck bouncing that could easily jump over, but he was secure and sure and kept it in and made the play there. David turns. I thought he's firing right away, but he kind of pump fakes that turn and fire, holds it for a split second, lets Zacha get 10 more feet to the net and puts it to an area where Zacha could get his big feet on it or a stick or something, and he does a nice job fighting through the traffic to direct it in. And it's an exciting third period, exciting win.
It was. And we'll talk about the 6-on-5 coming up in just a moment. We're going to get to that. Let me quickly tell you about our sponsor for this show. Thank you to Berkshire Bank, as always. Please, folks, if you're coming into town or you live here and you want to go have a great time in the Seaport, go check out the Omni Boston Hotel at the Seaport. It is the Morning Bru's preferred hotel partner and the home for all Bruins fans in New England. It's got great accommodations, great style, perfect place to go to a staycation. Or if you're coming in, you want to check out the hottest area, the Seaport District, go stay there. 10-minute drive, Uber ride to the Garden, and all the entertainment around there. Use the code PROBREW, PROBRU. That's Morning Bru's code. Get discount rate. Get 15% off the best available rate, and you will absolutely enjoy your time there. Go check out the Sporting Club. We had a listener, a fan, check it out recently. She absolutely loved it, and I know others have been there too. Go check out the Omni Boston Hotel at the Seaport. Use the code PROBREW, PROBRU, when you go to set your rate, and you will get that discount. Fazenda Coffee is the place to go if you want the Morning Brew blend, or if you want the Traveler, the Clean Canteen, or if you just want great coffee. That's really the place you want to go. You can find it retail, at a place like Whole Foods, or at the Dining Car, that's in Newton Highlands, or Bettina's Bakery, that's also in Newton Upper Falls. Comfort Kitchen, it's a great place too. Or go to West End Johnny's. They serve Fazenda there. Or go to Whole Foods. Go to Whole Foods and they have it there. FazendaCoffee.com/Morning Brew. You want to check out Fazenda, especially the Morning Brew blend. And finally, Bruins Authentics. It's the official game used, team issued, and team stock memorabilia of the Boston Bruins. Go check out all the latest items that come straight from the locker room and the ice. Own a piece of the action. Every piece is authenticated. Go to Bruins Authentics with an S, BruinsAuthentics.com, and check out the newsletter there and be the first to hear about the latest memorabilia drops. And lastly, the 50-50, right? Bruins Foundation, Boston Bruins.
March to a million.
Almost
there.
Where was it at tonight?
883, 350 at the last tally. So it went up a lot, like a 10 grand in the last period.
Oh, wow.
So they got to get there.
All right. BostonBruins.com/5050. Go check out, buy your tickets there. It's going to get March to Millions, the winning draw, March 30th. Okay,
It's a big boy one.
It's gonna be a mill. It's
Life-changing.
It is going to be life-changing. After I win, I probably will not come in. That maybe the next day.
You couldn't stay away.
Probably not. That's scary. All right, real quick, let's fly through a couple of things here. Ready? I want to talk Swayman, puck touches early on. Just a result, again, of being too much. I mean, too amped up, probably.
Too amped up. Maybe the first goal does it again, similar to the team. Amped up, ready to go, show everyone what we've got, give up the first goal. Oh boy. And then you start getting out there. You're a little unsure. That felt like they snowballed on him in the first, where it was one bad play after another. Like there was 5 of them, which it's uncharacteristic. A little bit decommunication, a little bit unsure, and a little bit of just not being effective with it, just not producing. So again, fought through all of that and made the couple of the saves in the second he needed to make to allow his team to get to 2-2, and then a couple saves at the end of the period. Obviously not a goalie battle, obviously not big saves from really either one of them, but it wasn't one of those nights. He just needed to find a way to get a win and overcome the puck touches, and it has to be better against good teams. It just does, because it's so much easier to get out of the zone with them.
Brandon, Carlo, Hampus, Lindholm. I thought Carlo was good. I thought Lindholm was just okay in this game. Each -2, though. They've been on the ice for more goals against it. Would you consider... Are you at the point you would consider splitting them up, perhaps, or just got to let them play through it?
I think you let them play through it. I don't think you switch them up, especially with playoffs coming in. I don't see how. I guess the only other way you would do it is if you went McAvoy, Lindholm, and then you put Wotherspoon there or something like that with Carlo, just to switch it up for a day or two. But at the end of the day, you're leaning on those two guys are really good. They're going to get goals scored on them at times.
Just given who the competition
just because they're up against the best, they're always taking D-zone faceoffs. That stuff just kind of happens. Again, and in this case, I thought Lindholm was very good after he got into the battle with Bennett. Again, I thought, like the rest of the team, he kind of got better as the game went on, more assertive. And he's kind of the one on the back end where he likes to make that play to the middle, and sometimes you have to just fight another day.
Parker Wotherspoon now, in his last 8 games that he's played, the team is 6-1-1. I mentioned he had an assist. He had a couple of PIMs in this game, but I thought he had a solid game. What did you think about Andrew Peak? I mean, it was played 17-14. He had a couple of hits. I actually thought it was more good noticeable in this game. I thought he started out real good, kind of sloughed off a bit. I thought this one was all right.
He had a couple good chances on net.
Yeah.
He looks like he fit. Like he is. Of course, he's an NHLer, but he looks like he fits in with what the Bruins want to do. You can tell that he is. Montgomery said it. He's sturdy. He's stiff. He isn't. He's hard to get the puck off of. He does well in the corners. He takes hits like he did behind the net. He continues to build his game. I don't notice him out there. And that's in a real positive way.
Best game in a while for Charlie McAvoy. He had not just offensively goal and assist, but physically.
Big hit on Reinhart.
Yes, this was made for him. Again, this type of game. I felt like, we talked in actually our pregame show about he hadn't put up points in his last 10 games.
Yeah.
Previous 10, he had done really well. The difference in this game was his absolute level of engagement. He was an absolute horse.
And he was angry.
Yeah.
Kind of old school ornery, not happy, no smiling, no happiness out there, just business. And I appreciate that a lot. They need him to do that. He brings that kind of level. That's how Bruins win. That's just, they'll win series with him being an animal like that.
First power play wasn't doing great.
No.
Are you leaning?
I think you gotta get them go. You gotta have them work through it. I think Brad's the catalyst. Brad's fighting it right now. He is.
They moved him more to the middle of the ice.
And they moved David up top. They were so bad at it that we didn't really see it. I'm curious how that looks. I'm curious to see.
What Razor's talking about, folks.
Yeah.
All right, just to explain this and we'll wrap this thing up. On the power play, Pastrnak took a lot of time up top where McAvoy usually is, top of the umbrella. McAvoy shifted over to the left side. Marchand was down low. Zacha flanked on the elbow, on the right elbow. Coyle was middle bumper. Now, there was movement, of course, but it wasn't as static as Pasta on one elbow and Marchand on the other one. And we were talking on and off air about needing to get the bumper more involved. The bumper is the facilitator, especially against a very aggressive penalty killing team like Florida is. If you can utilize that bumper to move the puck into different areas to break down the penalty killers, you're good. You're probably real good. The Bruins haven't utilized that well lately at all.
No, they haven't. And you wonder if they're trying to get Brad going over on the left side with that. We just didn't see it at all because they just didn't get any entries at all. The entries were horrible tonight.
Soft, yeah.
So we got to see it. You got to there's times in a game that you put the second unit out, but the reality is you're living and dying by those guys. So they've got to figure it out in game time, and get one to get the confidence going, just like Brad. And you just keep grinding those guys away. They've got to figure it out.
All right, a couple of guys didn't play in this game. Lowry, Shattenkirk, JVR. I don't know. I mean, do you guess any lineup changes for Toronto? I would think one or two.
Yeah, this guy. Yeah, I would expect two of those guys at least, if not all. Maybe he moves all three back in. Of course, Shaddy won a cup with Tampa. You could use him on the PP maybe. You get Lowry back in if you don't want to keep. I would expect two of those guys. JVR up front somewhere, maybe another power play guy.
Yeah,
something.
I would agree. I would expect at least one
back to back,
not two,
right?
and then back to back.
Hallmark.
After that, you got a couple of days off, and then you play Washington on Saturday. All right, Razor and I. Did I miss anything? I'm sure I did. But what? Anything else you want to get to? Anything? Nothing.
We can do it again tomorrow.
We are going to do it. All right, folks. Tomorrow night after Tampa, the Bruins play in Tampa. 7:30 game. 6:30 pregame on Nessa. 7:30 game, so they get an extra half an hour rest. Bruins will take on the Tampa Bay Lightning. A team's played, well, they've been inconsistent still as of late, but they are pretty well established in the playoffs. So are the Bruins. The Bruins win this game, 99 points on the season. They win 4-3 over the Florida Panthers. That's going to wrap up this Morning Brew with Jaffe and Rachel. Thank you to all of our sponsors. Thank you to fans for listening. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your coffee, and let's do it again tomorrow night.